What's your first memory of the Beatles?
I was like 7 or 6 and listening to my sisters who were older than me playing, a record, and actually you remember you used to stand near the record player to be closer. And then I actually saw the Beatles when I was 8, but I didn't go to the concert. I just stood outside a hotel for 5 hours in Sweden, and then they walked out on the balcony and we screamed.
Yay! I have a twin sister and a younger sister, and we used to play upstairs in bed, and we used to pretend to be the Beatles because my parents would play downstairs when we'd gone to bed, the 7-inch singles, which was extraordinary because I'd always thought of my parents as old, but when I now look back, they were young then, clearly, and enjoying this explosion of pop music, which was theirs as much as it was ours. And that's been the story ever since. Each generation, they belong to each generation as we evolve, really. And even a song like Yesterday, which is over 50 years old, feels like a new song, really, even now.
And as filmmakers, if you could remove from people's mind any movie and make it yours.
Oh, which movie would you steal?
Oh, Apocalypse Now.
Really?
Oh, no hesitation. Absolutely no hesitation. And I think I could remember quite a lot of it because I've watched it so many times.
Trainspotting. I'd be so fucking cool if I'd done Trainspotting. Imagine people with it. Oh, the variety of his work. Tremendous.
Was there any attempt to approach Paul McCartney to participate in the movie?
We had to approach them to allow us to make the movie. So if there's so many songs there that they wouldn't have wanted, they don't own those songs, the publishing, but they wouldn't have wanted to give us permission if the Beatles hadn't thought it would be fine. So we don't know if they think it's great, but they think it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, we were very fortunate. The working title who produced the movie built a deal with Apple and Sony, who owned the financial rights to all the music, which allowed us to use 15 to 18 of their songs a certain number of times within it. And then it was up to us to pick the songs, really. And we've sent them the film, obviously, and very, very graciously they've allowed us to go ahead with the film. And we've got a very lovely letter from Ringo, which is amazing, and from Olivia, George's widow. And it was we were very fortunate.
Come on, Paul.
Write us a letter.
We hope he likes it.
We hope he likes it, yeah.
And what would you say to a young audience that is not that familiar to the Beatles to watch the movie?
I've actually watched the film with 2 friends from America who really didn't know their music at all, and they came out and said, "Oh, they sound like quite a good band." I mean, I hope that it will. I think in a funny way, that's the point of the film, that we hope that the songs are strong enough for them to be hearing songs by the greatest songwriters of the last century. So I hope they would enjoy it in a different way, but actually come out thinking, oh, not bad.
And as people in the film industry, do you relate or have you met actors or directors struggling with success as Jack does in the film?
Ooh, yeah, good question. It's interesting, isn't it? He suffers an incredible amount of guilt. And I think that's I don't know whether it is very British. It feels very British to me because I've sort of stayed living in Britain, and you get lured by Hollywood, the LA kind of thing. And I've never really been into that, nor has he. We've tended to remain in Britain and make our films principally here, really. So I sort of empathise with Jack's feeling about guilt in terms of success. You always feel, and whether this is a British thing or not, I don't know, but you always feel imposter syndrome. You always think that you'll get found out one day. Someone is going to walk in and say, "I denounce you, you're not a real director." They're going to walk in there now and say, "This is over, he's rubbish." So I think Jack suffers that in a very complicated way as well.
I mean, Hugh Grant is the actor I know best, and he was unhappy when I first met him, and he's still unhappy now. So there's been no change. Fame has simply just made him unhappy in a bigger house.